Okay, good morning everybody. Day 130 on the trail. My lovely wife just dropped me off where I left off yesterday, and I'm flying solo today. Puppy's a little tired and sore, and so was Gator, so it's just me. I have about an 18.5-mile day planned today, so I might go a little further if I feel good. Getting closer and closer to my home territory, and by that I mean, yeah, where I'm constantly walking the dog on the trail 4 or 5 times a week. A lot of little ups and downs, typical of what we've been seeing. I'm going to try to do a little better videoing this time, now that I'm not distracted by company or doggy. So we're going to get going and get to it. It's supposed to be a fairly nice day. High of 77, no rain today or tomorrow, so that's why I'm trying to bag the last of New York while the weather's good before more rain comes in. But from what I'm seeing, a lot of the streams have been rejuvenated, at least for a little while, but the bugs are pretty bad now that it's been damp and wet. Mosquitoes are kind of swarming a bit, so I'm all doped up with bug spray. So that's why I got the hat, because I sprayed the hat. All right, we're gonna get going, trying to get all these miles in. It's 7:15 in the morning. Yeah, I know it's late, but I have to wake everyone up to get going, feed the animals now that I'm home. So all right, we're gonna get rolling. Come on along for the adventure. Trying to show you, if you listen, hundreds of birds. Can't say I know what kind, but they're all flitting about down there. Maybe there's a stream and they're all getting water after the drought. I don't know. So listen. Interesting. Hundreds of them. You can see them flying up and down and through the trees. I don't know what's going on. Oh well. Trail may go down that way, and maybe I'll disturb them. We'll see. The only thing I can think of is the berries down there. Lots of berries, elderberry, who knows? And there's water. There's that stream. There you go. That stream leads down there. There's got to be food down there, and they're all eating. Okay. This is the Dennytown Road parking area. And they have a little area set aside for thru-hikers to tent. Alright. I'm going to move on into the woods. Setting a good clip. Doing about 3 miles an hour. That's good. I do have a little bit of rocky section coming up. So I know there is a swampy area too I have to go through further on. But this section is going to have some short steep pitches. So we'll bring you what I can. See this bark? Dead giveaway to black locust. The deep, deep, undulating and interconnecting ridges and troughs. There's another one right here. All right. Let me get a move on. And I'll see you up the trail. Okay, here's one I've been looking for. Not the best, it's the best specimen I've found, but not the best that I've ever seen. It's got a doubly serrated leaf. All right. It's got alternate branching. Can't make it out, but it's got a doubly serrated leaf. But the most conspicuous thing is if you look at the bark of the trunk, it's got these bands, elevated bands, that almost looks like muscles, muscle groups, muscle fibers. Okay, which gives it one of its common names, musclewood. This tree probably has the most different names of any tree. It's called blue beech. It's musclewood. Some books refer to it as ironwood. I don't know if that's because of the muscles or how hard the wood is. This almost sounds like concrete. But its technical name is hornbeam. It's Carpinus genus. It's in the birch family, but it's not a birch. It's Carpinus. But you can see those muscles. A lot of people call it musclewood. It's an understory tree, 30 feet, 40 feet tops, I think. And you can see the muscle bands a little better there. Musclewood, blue beech, ironwood, and hornbeam is its name. Okay, here's one for you. I have the leaf here. All right, it's an oak. It's got the whitish bark and the young trees. All right, rounded lobes. See, the lobes are rounded, not pointy or bristly. That gives you a white oak. All right, but notice white oak, very important wood for barrel making because the pore structure is so small that once it's wet, it doesn't leak. Those heavily used in barrel making for distillery products and stuff, and anything else. But the oaks, as I said previously, are broken into two groups for lumber purposes: the red oaks and the white oaks. All right, red oaks you often get for flooring and other boards and stuff like that for carpentry use. The white oak is highly prized for the barrels. Here's some more, but what I wanted to point out is I'm seeing a lot of leaves with these holes in them. I don't know if it's because of the dryness, the drought, or there's something bothering them, but interesting. I see a lot of it on all the trees. So, all right, moving on. We got a little rough stretch coming up. Streams are flowing. There's a beaver pond over there, but you can still tell the water is down a foot easy still after all that, excuse me, rain. All right, coming up to that rugged section I told you about. Got a couple little steep knobs to go over. One in particular I like, the roots of the pine trees or the hemlocks, I forget which it is, wrap around the rocks, almost like a dragon's tail. At least that's what it makes me think of, although it might not for you. I'll bring you back for that. Okay, Trail's gonna go up here, up there, climbing up the rocks to get over the top of that thing. Told you it was a rough spot coming. All right, well, there's only one way to get over it, and that's to get started now. Okay, you got that white pine, but the root comes down here. Look at that. Pretty cool. All right. That's the trail. I just heard a tree fall. So, if a tree falls in the forest, it does make a noise. I was just wondering if something big and heavy had been climbing on something and it fell. So, that's a possibility. Alright, about to head into this lowland, this flat land here. And normally it's not hard to cross, but after all that rain the last few days, sorry, I'm still checking because I don't want a bear on my butt. Normally it's not too hard to cross a little over there. There's some rocks and stuff. But with all the rain, I'm wondering how bad the trail will be. So, I will give you an update there. Not bad. A little soft in spots, but not a problem. Sorry about that. Alright. Now, as we get through here, we have a very rocky section with a steady climb. So, not quite there yet. So I'm going to work on that while you guys enjoy. Oh, I'm getting bit like crazy. I'm going to have to put some more bug spray on. Down here in the lowlands, I got all the mosquitoes and deer flies. Oh, terrible. Okay. As we come on this stretch of the trail, you'll notice the trail is supported on a very high wall. All right. A lot of vloggers talk about how the trail crew did a lot of hard work to make this trail here, and they're wrong. This was done by the people who mined iron ore in these hills, and what they would do is, instead of pushing their carts up and down all the little hollows, they built this and they put narrow gauge track on these so that they could cart their ore. And actually there's also charcoal makers too in these woods. And there used to be train, little train tracks here, and they used to pull their iron, their ore and rocks and stuff along these train tracks to get them to the foundries and the furnaces. So that's what you're seeing here. As for the charcoal burners, of course, to make steel, you need to mix carbon in with iron. So there were people up in these woods who used to make charcoal. And it took a little bit of artistry to make charcoal. They had to use a specific technique, and what they would do is they'd make these piles of wood maybe 15-20 feet high, it would look like a dome, and they would structure it in such a way that they could regulate how it burned, and they would light it on fire, and once they did that, they had to tend it to keep it from getting too hot and to keep it from getting too cold, and they'd keep the heat just right to burn off all the extra gases and chemicals until they were left with a big pile of charcoal. And which time they'd scoop those up into their carts and bring them to the foundry to make steel. Most of these woods, of course, are not original growth. These are second and third growth. But it was logged and burned over for all sorts of things. So don't forget Harriman, who donated a lot of this land, is a big railroad guy. So probably closely tied with the steel makers and stuff like that. All right, we are approaching 301 in Canopus Lake, and then I'll bring you back to that. Okay, it's Route 301 in Canopus Lake. The trail's I'm gonna go up there, and the trail is gonna take me up on that ridge, and I follow that ridge all the way to the other side of the lake, and there's a pretty steep down up there. So, all right, I'm gonna get to it. Okay, we're at the Blue Trail. It leads down to the lake and along the lake to the thru-hiker camping area that they have set aside for thru-hikers. And 2 years ago, they built a shelter there in this grassy field. It's a mowed grass field. But I'm not going down there. If you want to see what the shelter looks like, look at the Far Out app. That's my picture in the Far Out app. I sent it to them right after they built the shelter. And this Blue Trail leads down to that campers area, and campers have access to the concession and the lake. And then from the campsite, there's another trail, the snowshoe trail, that comes up to meet the AT. And I'll show you that when I get there. But spider webs. I'm not going down, and I'll take you on the AT proper. The view from above Canopus Lake. Okay, we're at the junction of the trail, the Blue Trail that goes down to the hiker camper area at the Canopus Lake. So we're going that way. All right. Oh, excuse me. About 4 miles to the RPH Shelter. I'll take a bit of a break there and then move on to 52. Okay. Remember, stone walls were indicating that all this land was farmed. Stone walls up there, stone walls. Remnants of a stone wall down there. All right, these are all fields that people had tried to make a go of it farming. The really sad part is they move all these rocks, and look at it, there's still tons of rocks in the fields. So they got abandoned, and the trees grew back. But kind of rugged country to try to make a living farming or even raising stock. So, but labor was cheap back then. All right, let me get moving on. All right, up on Shenandoah Mountain. There you go, USA. Here's the view looking east. Okay. Someone took down the labels on the bridge. We're approaching the RPH Shelter, which is just up there on that flat up there. This stream is extremely low. Usually got more water. Surprised. All right. I'll get you back at the shelter. Okay. Ralph's Peak Hiker's Cabin, RPH Shelter. Nice little place, give you plenty of place to tent. There's the pump that they disconnected for reasons only they know. You could probably still make it work. Right, good covering over the table. Okay, here's the inside of the shelter. All right. It's got 6 bunks, plenty of room on the floor. Pair of feet. Someone must have stole the shoes that were on them. And there's always like a bird nesting on them. Oh, there's the nest. Someone must have saved the nest. Plenty to read. Usually there's tons of water here in jugs. I don't know why there's not. Look at this sheetrock ceiling. Sheetrock walls. Nice. Oh, it looks like they might have had a little water damage or something. All right. I'm gonna see if I can get a ride. And of course, they do a nice job. They cut the grass on a regular basis. There used to be a bunch of picnic. Oh, there's the other ones. They had a bunch of scrap picnic table pieces. I guess they cleared them out. Very nice.